Now, in this question as well, now it's a huge paragraph and really long lines, but we'll try to see if our strategies work in big questions as well. So, once again, first of all, let me reintroduce or remind you of our strategy. Now, our strategy has 4 steps in it. The first one is find the independent sentence. The independent sentence is the sentence that doesn't depend on other sentences. It introduces the subject, and you can mark it as you can always. It's the first sentence of the paragraph basically. So the step two is make connections. To make connections between one or two sentences of the paragraph, so that you can make sense of the paragraph. Like you get an idea, like you got the independent sentence, you got the first sentence, and you made a connection between two sentences, and you get an idea of what's happening in the actual paragraph, and then you come to step three, that is arrange the sentences. Then you arrange these sentences, and in step four you find the closing sentence. So let's begin. So first of all, we need to find the independent. We need to find the independent sentence, which is a sentence that doesn't depend on other sentences. It can introduce a topic and be the sentence that we mark as first. So let's see. So while finding this sentence, I usually use the elimination strategy in this as well. So what that is, like I'll read the first 3 words, like but upbringing in the foster, like from but it's clear that we cannot use it. And number one, it's not an independent sentence. Children's like him, 3 words. We read only 3 words, and we know that we cannot use this because children like him, like we don't know who him is. So one of the recommendations, no, doesn't make any sense. We're not just going to start giving recommendations in the first line. So he went to he on the first word. It's like we cannot use that. So in our fifth sentence says, according to the Australian Institute of Family Studies, in 2014, an 11-year-old boy was unable to live with his family due to child abuse. So here, a topic has been introduced. It's that 11-year-old boy in 2014, he was unable to live with his family because he was being abused. So he was due to child abuse. So this is our first sentence. We can say that because it's an independent sentence, it doesn't depend on others, and it's actually introducing a topic, and we can begin forming our rest of the paragraph around this sentence. So this was our first paragraph, first sentence. So now that we have found that, we will move on to our second step. Now what is our second step? Now our second step is to make connections. So we'll try to make connections. So but upbringing in the foster care systems means that he has no one to help him. It's not his fault, yet he's being penalized for something he can't change. Children like him involved with child protective services were shown to have consistently low average math and reading standardized test scores. So here we're talking about his academics. So one of the recommendations was to send him to his relatives who were willing to take care until he was 18. So this resulted in a positive outcome in academic achievement. So here, if you guys noticed, we found a connection, academic achievement, and here we were talking how his math and reading is has low scores, test scores, which is basically academics. So this is a connection, like maybe they introduced a problem here that his score is low, and then they recommended something and we found a connection. Now let's look at our rest of the sentences as well. So he went to school while he was in foster care, and one was Bar Beacon School, formerly Bar Beacon Language College, is a mixed comprehensive for foster children. So now we know that he went to 2 schools, but we still need to find a connection for this one. So, but upbringing in the foster care system means he has no one to help him. It's not his fault, yet he's being penalized for something he can change. So here we talked about foster care system, and then we talked about how he went to school that is comprehensive for foster children. Now it's not a direct connection, but we still get the basic idea that maybe these two are connected. So let's begin our sentence. Now we move on to our third step, which is rearranging. So we start rearranging. So this one is our first sentence. So now from reading the paragraph, we have a little bit of idea that it has something to do with foster care. So we first introduced that an 11 year old boy, he is unable to live with his family because of child abuse. So what would happen to him? He would be up he would be upbringing his upbringing would be in foster care system. So that is our second sentence. Because we have read the paragraph, now we now understand a little bit of the paragraph. So if he can't live with his family, he will be brought up in the foster care system, which means he has no one to help him. It's not his fault, yet he's being penalized for something he can't change. So now we have found a connection, and we actually managed to like find a connection between 1 and 2 as well. So then we move on to find our next fill in the next paragraph, next sentence. Children like him involved with child protective services were shown to have consistently low average maths and reading standardized test scores. One of the recommendations. So he went to 2 schools while he was in foster care, and now we found a connection in this one as well. But upbringing in foster care system, and he went to 2 schools comprehensive for foster children. So there is one more connection that can determine that this sentence will come here only on third place, because here we are talking in the second sentence, we are talking about his math and test score. But how can we talk about his scores or math or reading test scores before talking about his school? So definitely school comes before his marks. So we will move on to this one. So this is third, because we basically found two explanations of why this sentence will come here. Now we talking about his school, so obviously he goes to 2 schools and his test score are bad. So children like him involved with child protective services, they consistently have low average and average math and reading standardized test scores. So now they have lower test scores. So one of the recommendations is to send him to his relatives who were willing to take care of him until he was 18. This resulted a positive outcome in academic achievements. So they finally found a solution. So the solution was that they are going to send him to his relatives who are gonna take care of him until he turns 18. So this was our paragraph 2, 4, 5, 3, and 1. So here what we did is we found the first sentence, we found the independent sentence, we made 1 or 2 connections. The first one was pretty deep, but the second one we were not sure about that. And then we started rearranging and we actually made sense of the paragraph as we went on. So understanding the paragraph, understanding what is happening, understanding the context, especially in reorder paragraph, is extremely important. So we need to focus on what's happening, what's the flow of the sentence, what are they introducing, and what example are they giving of that subject. So things like these we need to really understand. So our correct order was 2 4 5 3 and 1.